Hello, everybody, and welcome to a Spark of Genius Flesh and Blood production. And we have another interview for everybody. Of course, we wanted to spread it out. Not everyone's just going to be a player, not everyone's going to be from the same region. This is our first, oh man, how do I, our
How
first
do you categorize
supply and
this?
supply and demand expert. That's how that's how what I'm gonna call him here. So we have with us Mr. Jason Hansen, the owner, proud creator of the Deckedge Patreon, and I'm just calling it IP. Is like the website's Deckedge, everything's all Deckedge. You got
hmm
Discord Deckedge, Facebook
Yep.
Deckedge. That's just what it is here. So we're introducing Jason over out in Maine, beautiful state of Maine. It's the second Canada, essentially. That's pretty much what all the Canadians call it. And so we have Jason on here. Of course, I'm joined by Rob, co-creator, co-commentator, co-caster, co-compatriot.
Hello.
And he's going to be, I don't know where he's going to be. He's up there, I guess, depending on where I am.
Yeah, I'll be somewhere
And
on the screen.
so for this interview, I think it's definitely very unique because Jason has a lot of insight and expertise in a lot of topics that most players have no idea what happens in the background, and they either haven't been in the game that long, they haven't dealt with the quantities, with the logistics, especially
hmm
with actually essentially growing a business from essentially nothing. Because I remember when you started, you were like, I was there. It was
Yeah.
small. It started small here. So just a very starting it off very briefly here. Uh, give the viewers, those who don't know you. I'm sure tons of Americans definitely would know you. Probably some Canadians. Definitely all your services, all the products you give amazing prices for, in case everyone's curious on where to get the best priced products. Deckedge.com, the Patreon, all that kind of good stuff. So,
hmm
brief history about Deckedge. I'm going to say in TCGs because it started off in Fab, right? And then, of course, it's expanded. And so, kind of, when did you start your flesh and blood journey? The Patreon with the box breaks, distribution, all the good stuff, all the way into like branching out into like a pseudo distributor, right? Because you're kind of like a you're very close as far as like the customer basis because like we can't order from like Prince PhD Southern Hop because like it's regular people can't, but you do, right? So
hmm
kind of give us like a bit of context into your journey so far.
Yeah, sure. Well, first off, Eric, Rob, thanks for having me on Spark of Genius. Appreciate it. Always fun. My first video cameo experience. So thanks again for having me. Um, when did I start? My journey started in June of 2020.
Mhm.
Um, I saw the game, forgot about the game, saw the game again, and I was like, man, I can't believe I forgot about this. Like, I got to get this in my hands.
Yeah.
Called around. I just Googled, and I'm like Google mapping and just moving around the state of Maine, like calling every single store, CD store. Like there's a Bull Moose here. They sell like video games, music, magic. I'm like, maybe they have it. Call all of
Mhm.
them. No one carried it. No one would get it for me. I waited 2 weeks, call them back. I'm still kind of getting like the runaround. I'm like, look, if you got minimums, I'll pay the minimum, whatever the minimum order is. Like,
hmm
oh, we don't order from that distributor, this and that. And finally I was fed up. I was like, I literally cannot find where to buy this game.
Yeah.
Uh, even online, even online, it was you just couldn't find it. So I buckled up and I talked to the you can call like the business, state house, and they can kind of walk you through on how to register a business.
Mhm.
I probably harassed Susan more than she's ever been harassed in her life. I finally got my business license, and I started with, I think my first order was like one or two cases, and that was I think early July.
Mhm.
And being new to the game, I had some cards that I needed, some cards that I had a bunch of, and my own solution to my own problem was let's do some case breaks, right? You can buy the slot that you want, get what you need to
Yep.
fill in your collection,
Right.
and it worked for a lot of people at the time, and it was super fun. It's really
Yep.
great, and that's kind of like what propelled it into. I carry Pokemon, MetaZoo, Flesh and Blood,
hmm
some Magic. The roots are still kind of, Flesh and Blood, and then everything else is more like I get some stuff in, but then it's like I'm like your personal shopper. You ping me, you need it, I'll get it, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Uh, But yeah, I mean, and fast forward, I can't believe it's been almost 2 years, but yeah, here we are.
Yeah,
No, for
almost
sure.
two
I
years.
remember,
June, I guess. Yeah.
what was it,
Yeah.
June? I remember on your, I couldn't get into the first box break because I've just got I had the slowest internet back then, but I got into the every other box break after that, all the Welcome to Wraith Alphas, the Arcane. I got those cold foil common slots
You
for like 15
cleaned
a
house.
piece.
You
15
cleaned
Oh
house
my
with
apiece.
good
cold
God.
foil
Oh
common.
my goodness.
$15 a slot. So
Yeah.
it was $15 for a case worth of cold foil commons. Some cases had like six cold foil, five, six case cold foil
Yeah.
commons.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That and the Majestic slot. I think I got maybe 50% of my Welcome to Wraith Alpha collection from Jason's case breaks. Maybe 50%, I
That's
would say.
awesome.
Just the Majestic slots. They were super good. I remember, and then when the Patreon launched,
Yeah.
shortly after, I think, right?
It was almost tandem actually.
Hmm.
It was
Okay.
probably like maybe 2 weeks later, but I was working them in tandem. I just hadn't kind of like figured out like the cost model yet,
Yeah,
you
the
know.
structure, right? Like how you were
Yeah.
gonna kind of like set up the initial Patreon levels.
Right.
Because I
Yeah.
remember like setting up, you just essentially like super majestic and the limits and such like that. And then that one fabled slot, who I didn't even notice you had a one fabled slot when I was going to set
Hey,
up.
hey,
Whoever that is, yeah,
yeah, same person ever since I started, which is great. Great person, great pillar in the community. He will
yep.
remain nameless, but yeah,
Yep.
Oh,
same
fair
same
enough.
person ever since the get-go. So pretty cool.
I
Yeah.
remember I got the super slot. I thought it was getting it. It was like it's like it was $10 a month or
And
something ridiculous. Yeah,
yeah,
back then. Like, this is like the original super slot. And I was
Yeah.
like Patreon number, I don't know, 16 or 18 or something like that. I remember
yeah,
for all the pack cracks. And I just all I remember is every time I got the products, they were just like I think it was me and maybe two other Canadians. Maybe there were like three or four. There was like a handful. I
yeah,
remember because back then the product wasn't out in Canada. It wasn't a thing in
right.
Yeah.
Canada
Yeah. It
like
wasn't
at
a
Yeah,
thing.
all. Like this was June, July. It wasn't even out. Not until like late August, September. Then Crew came out.
Yeah.
But getting Welcome to Wraith and Alpha Arcane, there was like one store back east that had it, and they didn't have that much of it. But
Yeah.
the
They were
point
shipping
is
things
that
in from the States, I
they
believe.
were getting it from the States.
Yeah.
They were not getting it from Canada. They were also getting it from the
Yeah.
States, the one Canadian store.
And whenever I
And
bought
so
product, it was always on eBay. eBay, or
uh-huh.
yeah,
like some of the singles markets in New Zealand and Australia. I think they had like singles. Maybe it was like Fab. Anyway, I kind of forget the names by now, but it was kind of these
murder
like these.
shipping though.
Yeah, well, $30 shipping probably for a few singles. Yeah, yeah, it
E-
wasn't fun.
eBay's eBay's funny. I was actually helping out a guy in the UK around Crucible First Edition
Mm.
because what
Mhm.
what what I was able to do is I could sell him stuff,
Yeah,
and it would go through eBay's Kentucky distribution hub to the UK.
Hmm.
So shipping was dirt cheap, and you
that's
just literally
interesting.
couldn't get anything over there. So he'd ping me on Messenger. I'd be like, all right, yeah, I'll throw the posting up on eBay. He'd buy it on eBay, and then I'd ship it through eBay. He'd pay like, five
Wow.
dollars.
Wow,
We
surprising.
would just game the system.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, but then,
Yeah.
once COVID hit, that wasn't really kind of the
yeah,
same anymore.
Everything went out the
The
window.
sh
Yeah,
the
yeah.
for sure.
shipping is just insane.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Um, I,
100%.
I still ship a decent amount into Canada. I still got several people on Patreon
Mm.
that still. So
No,
Nice.
that's fair enough. And now as you said, you got the full fledged. When did you start with? I think you just carried a little bit of everything after Fab. You got like a little I don't think you like went into like a single game after. It was more like just a little bit of whatever they had and just whatever people wanted kind of thing.
yeah, it's tough because a lot of stuff is still in allocation. So
Yeah.
I'll
Right.
put numbers in. I might get one or two, but it's not even worth like posting that hey, I have this, right? Because then you got 5, 10 people that want it. It goes in 2 seconds. I just sell it locally as opposed to throwing it up online or something. So
Yeah.
Hmm.
No, it's totally
yeah,
fair. All right, I'm gonna throw it up. I'm gonna throw it over to Rob. Talk a little bit about the market.
Yeah. So I guess Jason, since you've been into this game pretty much from the ground up, you've seen it before it even came out worldwide. From your own experience, when did you think this game became such a worldwide phenomenon? Like from its grassroots beginning in New Zealand to being a more casual game. From your own experience, what was the point this game really kind of exploded worldwide? Was there anything in
Become
particular?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that
I
struck
Become the magic
struck you.
killer. No, I'm just kidding.
For me, there was absolutely a pinnacle moment where I knew
Hmm.
something was up, and that was the first week of August of 2020.
Yeah.
I got hundreds of Crucible of War first edition boxes, and they sold out instantly,
Hmm.
absolutely immediately. Um, where before it was not like that, right? Like I'd order several cases of WTR or
Yep.
Arcane Rising first edition. I'd do some box breaks, move some product. I'd sell some single boxes here and there. I'd break
Mm.
some for myself. Instant. And then ever since then, it has been extremely challenging to hold on to product
Mm.
until unlimited.
Hmm.
We'll leave that as a teaser if we get to a question
Mm.
around
Yo,
that.
yo,
Yeah, I think
we're
we've
definitely
got
we're
something
definitely
going
getting
on.
to that. We're
Uh,
definitely
So,
getting to that.
yeah, I mean,
um,
speaking to that point, I remember, back in, I must have been same time you started around June, even a little earlier than that. Like the boxes of Welcome to Wraith and Arcane Rising, the Alpha and First Ed sets, they were widely available on eBay. Like they would sit there, for a while at $100 a box, even less. Like I think I got several at $80 US a box. And then when Crew came out, you just couldn't find it, right? It was just bought out everywhere I looked.
Man, hindsight, man,
I
hindsight.
wish I could. I
It's a
mean,
killer, man. It's a
everyone in
killer.
Fab right now wish they could have bought out every hard to find, every box of Alpha, right? But
uh,
it's true that it wasn't selling off the shelves. It wasn't flying off the shelves. It was kind of just there until one day a flip of a switch, and then it just
True
all
first
went
edition.
away. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. I mean, for me, I wish I bought more singles back then, but I
Hmm.
I kind of went the other route and I got sealed.
Yeah.
Um,
As we can very plainly see
See in the
in and
background there.
around
Yeah. Well, those are
Jason's
those are all
basement.
singles in boxes.
yeah, yeah. No, it's all just the commons. I just throw them in the boxes, and
Yeah, that's what
that's how I store my commons.
it.
I went a different route. Just with the
Hmm.
business and it taking off and everything, I didn't have the time, and
Mm.
so instead I just focused on collecting sealed
Yeah.
versus singles per se, and I would just pick up what I needed for decks I wanted to play.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Ninja's my jam, so I'd pick up what I needed there. I got my cold foil Katsu from Australia.
Nice.
Actually, no, sorry, I traded. I got what did I trade? I don't remember. I
Hmm.
traded for Katsu to one of my Patreons in Florida. We did a
Mm,
trade because I had the one that he wanted to play.
right.
Um, and then I got my underground
Oh,
my
playmat.
slingshot playmat. Yep.
That's a
Um,
that's a really nice playmat.
yeah, for me that was kind of like the holy grail.
Yeah,
The
I think for a
slingshot
lot of people,
singles were
that is
yeah.
considered the holy grail. Yeah.
The cards would be nice, but they were just I would rather, even at the time, you could get a WTR box for I don't know,
A few $100 maybe.
700.
Okay. Yeah.
When I was looking,
Right.
but the slingshot cards were like 3-4 grand from people I could find it from, and I was like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Nah.
nope,
Yeah.
I'm getting a case of WTR. I'm gonna
Yeah.
pass, but you
100%.
know, those are just tough to buy. I don't know, but
Yeah, and
Mm.
I guess it's hard to tell because we don't really know how many are out there. For a lot of
yeah,
these promo cards, it's a bit of a gamble to go really hard into the paint for those. For Alpha and First Ed, I guess how many are printed, so it's a little safer to say if I want to buy a Mask of Momentum cold foil, I know there are about 1,000 of them out there, based off
Mhm.
of print numbers. But for promos, especially those kind of test promos that we don't really know, right, how many they've got.
Yeah, that's fair. Why do you think it exploded, Jason? What happened? I know you definitely noticed it, but
Jason
do you think
Jason
there was
happened.
like a
Jason brought this to the
you
market and
just
everyone was
came on,
just yeah.
everyone was like, "Hold on, I can get how many Majestics for 40 bucks? All right.
How many cold foils
Something's
for
happened."
$15? Yeah.
I think
The
I was doing
amount,
like
yeah,
I think I was doing case breaks for like 280 between if I sold all the slots, I think it was like 280, 320.
Oh
It's
good
man.
crazy. This is
times.
crazy.
Good times. I have good memories. Oh God.
Yeah. I mean, a lot
You
of
know,
people. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I was gonna cut you off there.
no, it's I mean, I don't know. It's tough to say like what happened per se.
Yeah.
I think just more and more people just started to play the game. I mean, you play the game and you're like, mechanically, this is
Yeah.
amazing, you know?
Mhm.
And it was very simple back then, right? With WTR and Arcane Rising. It was
Right,
very
right.
simple. And then all of a sudden, now it's on Tabletop Simulator, right?
Mhm.
So
Right.
now even more people can play it before they like actually commit money to playing it, right?
Right.
Right.
Let alone like could they go somewhere local to pick up something? Probably not. But
Mhm.
at least now they could go play it online and see if they liked it, or maybe watch somebody who posted a video about it. So I just think we just had all these things,
It was a
and
kind of a storm, a
it
perfect
was just
storm brewed up.
snowballing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know?
No, that makes sense. I think very controversial point, but I think without COVID, this game would be nowhere near as big as it
Uh,
is right now. I
I
know people are gonna
yeah.
be like, "There's no way," and I'm gonna tell you, everyone's sitting at home, everyone's getting these checks, everyone's spending more on collectibles, everyone's
Yeah.
looking for things
That
to do.
argument's definitely valid. I've heard
You
that
you cannot
quite a
you
few
cannot
times.
tell me that this game would have organically grown in a country like the United States compared to New Zealand, this very small country where everyone is kind of as a bunch of local stores. The game was made here.
Yep.
This game would not have spread in North America and Europe nearly as fast without COVID. So I'm just
Yeah,
saying that's got to be some kind
Hot
of
takes.
impact
Yeah.
too. Hot
yeah. I,
takes.
I I don't think you can discount that. I
Yeah.
think you'd be hard pressed to peg, where they would be without that versus with it, but it
Mhm.
definitely would not be the same, right? I
I
don't
think
think you
so.
can
Yeah.
contest that.
Yeah.
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 No, for sure.
Fair enough.
Uh,
Yeah, man. I mean, speaking to the gameplay, it is the one game my wife plays with me. Out of all the TCGs I've played, it's the one that kind of we just played.
the only card game she plays with you.
She loves
You should
board
be
games. I
specific.
will
Yeah.
asterisk that she loves board games, but the only TCG that she plays with me, and we bought the game before it even came out in Canada. We bought it on eBay just to try it out because we just love trying
Yep.
things out, and it was the one that we just kept coming back to. So I knew there, like for me, that was my testimony to how good the gameplay was.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Oh,
mean, I've played Magic since '96.
Mm.
And so, if downtime, I'll watch, gameplay of Magic online, right? Like, love the game. I enjoy the older formats, um, but
Hmm.
it's just better. It's just better.
Just better.
nothing else to say. No, it's fair,
Yeah,
Arnold.
enough said. Just better. Yeah. All right. Well, we talked a bit
Yeah.
about the sale of First Ed, for sale of Alpha, but I guess with the evolution of Unlimited, right? Because Unlimited came out with Welcome to Wraith, or I guess it came out with Crucible first, then Welcome to Wraith, and Arcane came after, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Um, how has that impacted, the sale of product? You mentioned that Crew first was a big boom. Now with Unlimited coming out, do you think this is kind of affecting how people view the product or how much people buy? And what are people kind of looking for nowadays in terms of, buying product?
Right. There's a lot to unpack there.
Mm,
Um, I'd like to take a step back first. I don't think Unlimited was planned ever
right.
That's fair.
with LSS. I
You don't think
think it
so?
was. I don't think so at
I
all.
heard it was an
They they
Okay.
afterthought. Yeah.
they had mentioned it with Crew. Um, I think I think it was something that they had to come up with to solve a dire problem they had because the game was growing so quick.
Hmm.
Right? They can't they right. So we're at Crew where things explode. Right? They got
Yeah.
36,000 boxes, and you're seeing these insane numbers. People can't play without WTR Arcane Rising.
Hmm.
They're
Yeah.
not going to go back and print those two sets
Yeah.
and devalue all of their players that bought into the game when it
For
was
sure.
still nothing, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I think it was born out of necessity because I just don't think they ever dreamed it was going to grow as quick as it did. And to be honest, it was a brilliant solution for a problem they had at the time,
Yeah.
right? Like if
Yeah.
they're going to spin up a whole new set, they got to do different borders maybe. They got to decide on a whole myriad of things. So they mash a bunch of sets together.
Yeah.
Um, and I think the best choice was let's just change the little rarity thing, make it easier
Yep.
to figure out what they are, and just send them to the printer. And I
Yeah.
I honestly think it was brilliant.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think for that purpose and for a certain time, it worked. Um, right? Because even in early 2021, it was really December was the first wave of like unlimited for WTR and Arcane,
Hmm.
and then it kind of just trickled into you got sort of two waves in January, one wave in February, and then Monarch, right? And so it just kept trickling, right? And so your demand is still way higher than supply, and that was driving costs up as well, which kind of also was going against sort of the purpose with LSS. But you had all these other, market conditions that were putting pressure on it, which made it challenging, unfortunately. Because I think it probably could have grown even quicker if that wasn't necessary. Like if they could have got more boxes
Yeah.
and the boxes would have been less.
No, for
Um,
sure.
I think it could have been a lot better. I think after Monarch, that's where you had the issue where there was just too many boxes on the market.
Right.
Hmm.
And, it was tough for me because at that point I had grown so much, I could support my core base, no
Mm-hmm.
problem, and get them all first edition at,
Mm.
you know, normal prices.
Right.
Um,
Reasonable prices
I
here.
mean, reasonable prices. I mean,
Yeah.
when Crew shot up to 300 something dollars a box, I
Yeah.
still sold it at map
Right.
um,
Right.
in November when it was insane, September.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so, I wasn't moving a bunch of unlimited because,
Yeah.
all of my base was getting first
You've
edition.
satisfied
So
the demand already. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But it was definitely challenging, right? Because then you had like, well, take unlimited or you don't get first edition. And it's like, okay, well,
Yeah.
you're not the only pony in town. I'll just not order it. Sorry,
I wish Canada
sales
had that
rep.
option. I wish Canada had
You
more
know.
than one distributor offering
Oh
product.
well, we'll talk about that
Well, we
later.
can
Don't
talk
don't you
about it
worry
later.
about
Yeah,
that.
I
yeah.
mean, I mean that decision definitely hurt my business, but I
Right.
I feel like it was the right one to make.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so I think we're at the point where unfortunately we got to where unlimited didn't make sense anymore, right? Like
Yeah.
we needed it, it happened, and then it was kind of held on to, and I don't think it should have been.
Right.
Yep,
Um,
that makes
and I
sense.
think it, and I think maybe they were just figuring out what they wanted to do. Like, do we just axe unlimited altogether, or you know, we got what we got now. We got Fab 2.0. It's the new
Yep.
box. It was interesting how they worded it, how they got rid of first edition. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
it
always
seems
thought
like
it
they
was
should have
funny.
simply got rid of unlimited,
Yeah,
right?
right.
They're kicking out
Or just
the
Yeah,
original print.
or
Yeah.
just or just we're retiring everything and this is the new. It was just
Yeah.
very oddly worded to me.
I,
I
I
don't know.
think I think that there might have been a lot of critiques they received about just first set being so expensive, maybe,
hmm,
Yeah,
primarily for
maybe
the
that's
first few
why.
sets, and they're like, okay, so we'll make it more player focused. So there's no
Yeah,
more first set. Here you go, right? Maybe that was their angle.
I
Uh,
think you're right, Rob. I
yeah.
think that. I mean, James is a smart guy. Let's
Oh yeah,
let's be real here,
yeah,
and I'm sure he picked his words very intentionally. In that communicate, I'm sure that communication had been gone through 1,000 times between everyone
100%, hundred
in the
percent.
yeah,
building.
It was
You know,
important.
yeah,
yeah.
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 So I wish it took them not as much time to get to where they did,
Right.
because I do think there we suffered a bit from a market standpoint
Yeah.
because of all of the Monarch and Tails Unlimited.
Yeah, I've seen
Mhm.
I've seen a few of my local stores here just stop carrying Fab altogether because they just could not move unlimited product. It would sit on their
Mhm.
shelves without selling like a single box for over a month or two, right? Um, Primarily Monarch and Tails. I think Welcome to Wraith and Arcane were still pretty good because there was
Mhm.
still a demand for that product. Like there are some staples in there that you had to get, some legendaries that just didn't make sense to play without almost. But for Tails and Monarch, there was just so much first edition available to them, and
Yep.
Tails was even dropping to a point where it was almost as expensive as Unlimited. It wasn't the case when it first came out, but you could find those
Mhm.
boxes for like, I'm talking Canadian dollars, but maybe like 130 to 150 Canadian, which was actually very close to MSRP. Um, so I think that people just did not have any motivation to buy unlimited. Stores couldn't sell it, and they just kind of saw Fab as, it's kind of run its course a little bit, right? Which
Yeah.
is not the case anymore with Fab 2.0. I believe things will get a lot better, but for a lot of stores, it's kind of like that's it. We're done, which is
Yeah.
very unfortunate.
Yeah. And it's the boxes didn't move, but I still think singles from Unlimited for those
Mm.
sets move no problem.
Okay,
Um,
yeah,
there's waves.
right.
Um,
One
I
deck
don't
gets
do sing
popular.
I don't do
Yeah.
singles. It's a lot of work.
Fair enough.
But
Yeah.
you know, through my contacts and a lot of different single sellers that I know, um, they moved.
Hmm.
Uh, but boxes, yeah, definitely not so much. But I mean, if you got a bunch of boxes, just crack them open, enjoy them.
Crack them open and sell some singles.
Sell,
Yeah.
sell the singles you don't need.
Exactly.
You know? Yep.
Awesome. That makes a lot of sense and definitely is congruent to what I've been seeing as well. So really got to get that insight from someone who sells boxes, primarily. So I'm
Yeah.
glad they changed something. It's very exciting times. I think we're in. 2.0 is going to change a lot, and I'm looking forward to just pulling a cold foil now, right? Because they're going to be so much rarer to pull in these boxes. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, I think the new box is going to be great. It's kind of like what you see in other TCGs, and
Mhm.
I think at release, as long as supply is there, it'll be a reasonable price. It will be a reasonable price for a very long time, and then hopefully we'll slowly see it go up in these
Yeah,
step increments. If it's a good set,
in a
right?
healthy
If it's
manner. Yeah.
Yeah, if it's a good set or not, right? If it's not a good set, it's not. I mean, it's not going to go up.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and I think to me this box is basically like a lot of other TCG boxes, and um, those work, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I think we're going to be in a very good spot now. So
Awesome.
I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Okay, so I've got one last question here from my side. So I was kind of wondering, or I guess we were kind of wondering about distribution, and um, so can you comment a little bit on how the distribution works in Flesh and Blood? How the allocations work? Are you promised a certain amount, or are you told you can buy a certain amount, then they kind of take back from you? How does the first ed to unlimited ratios work out? All that kind of stuff.
Great questions. I wish I could say the reason I'm balding is because of allocations and distribution, but that was pre before this.
Mhm.
I
It
don't have the
accelerated it, maybe.
Yeah. I might not have the most in-depth knowledge to this, due to my
Hmm.
experiences only with Fab,
Right.
Mhm.
and then lightly in some other TCGs.
Well,
Um,
yeah, we're talking mainly Fab here. We're not
yeah,
talking
Yeah,
about
yeah,
like
yeah.
yeah.
well, you can't though, right? Because if I'm a store that does 10 million with a distributor,
Hmm.
and then I
Mhm.
come in and I'm like, "Hey, sales rep, what's this Fab thing?"
Right.
Right? Like, how many boxes can you get me? You can't tell me that sales rep, right? They tell you allocation is based on your sales in your category, depending what
Hmm.
distributor you're with. You can't tell me that sales rep is going to totally hose his $10 million
Fair
customer,
enough.
right?
Yeah, yeah, that
Yeah,
makes a lot of
that's
sense.
fair.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but take that out of it, right? Let's just we'll speak to mine because I'm not 10 million. I'm not
Fair, yeah.
even,
One day, one day, one day.
One
Give it
day.
time. Give
one
it
day,
time.
right? We'll get there.
Yeah.
Um, Basically, what happens is it goes up on the site. You get a date when you need to get your order in by. You put in how many boxes you want. You put in those boxes. That's what you're committing to. Um, and then it's a waiting game, a very stressful waiting game.
Hmm.
Sometimes you don't know until the week it's going to ship. um, you know, and it was very, very stressful. A lot of times I felt jaded or um, it just was not a fair environment to operate out of, right?
Okay.
Because then all of a sudden you have other big stores come online with Fab product, and they're taking pre-orders for hundreds of boxes, right?
Okay.
So it's like,
You're
all right, well,
you're
clearly
competing
they
with
have their
those
numbers,
guys.
right? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
or are they just like burning people when they don't get all the boxes they want?
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but it was like literally pulling teeth to try to get numbers. Oh, next week. Oh, this Friday, Tuesday. They
And
never call you back.
and you can't even sell
Uh,
anything until you really know how many you have, I assume, right? Or you can't make
I mean, I made
some of
that
the bigger
mistake with
calls.
Arcane.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I made that mistake with Arcane Rising.
Mm,
For sort of like the final like go for first edition,
right.
and I oversold by a bunch of
Mm,
boxes. Because
yeah.
I was told I was getting that many. Oh, sorry, we had to cut
Right.
you. We didn't get everything in.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, this was like way back when I had no idea. That was probably a total lie.
Hmm.
Um, but so yeah, I mean, it's gotten marginally better. Now I'll get like, okay, you'll have this many for sure, but
Okay.
it could be up to this amount, right? So like, so
Give
I
you a
got
range,
that.
at least.
Yeah, or at
Yeah,
least they give
but
you the
sorry.
floor. They give you the floor, so at least you know that you could sell this much potentially and
Right.
not get
Yes.
burned. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was better. But I mean, even still, that number, you're talking like, I mean, we'll just make numbers up,
Sure.
but it was like this exaggerated, 1,000 boxes, 1,800 boxes, right? Like your floor is
Okay.
1,000, you could get up to 18.
Okay.
Well,
That
that's a big
that's a big
difference.
range, yeah.
Wow.
No, that's fine. I no,
Yeah.
I
Still
have
so
two hundred
useful.
thousand dollars in my bank, just chilling
Yeah.
out. That I'll just put on hold for
I'm
when
a
you give me my
millionaire,
number.
by the way. I can afford
You
to
know,
just yeah.
but I mean, it was like that big of a swing for like numbers that they would give you.
Right.
And even with Everfest, like I literally didn't know until like 4 days before release, like
Oh
how many
wow.
boxes,
Even
which
for
is just
Everfest, yeah, which I figured they would get it right by then. Sixth set of the game, it's been
yeah.
printed quite a bit. It's
And I
not
mean,
rare.
to be fair, if you watch my box battles, occasionally I do like a personal break. You
Right.
know, sometimes you get a case in,
Hmm.
and you get
Oh,
damage, right? So
Yeah.
yeah.
like I
Yeah.
understand they're accounting for forklift damage, pallet damage, things like that. But come on, guys, they've been doing this for 20, 30 years, if not longer, if you count baseball, right?
Right.
Like they should have a pretty good idea on what's going to get damaged, what's not, and they should be able to get
Yeah.
you number pretty
They've got
soon,
historical data they can fall back
yeah,
to and look at. Like, okay, 10% of our boxes typically get damaged. We could
right?
give you some
Like I
more of a
mean,
guarantee. Yeah.
are these guys operating like on MS DOS, or I just it's just
Windows
crazy.
95.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I mean it can definitely be stressful. You
Mm.
might get numbers week of the week before.
Yeah.
There's different pricing, different vendors have different things that kind of qualify you for how many you'll get,
Okay. Yeah.
and things like that. Some are market category, some are total spend. I don't even know if any of those are true.
Mm.
Uh, but that's kind of like what they tell you.
See,
It's funny. I'll
yeah.
actually talk to other stores, be like, "Hey, do you have this? I don't have this. They're telling me this. You're telling you that.
Oh,
You
it's a
don't always get
good
the same
way
store."
to cross check what they're saying. Yeah.
Absolutely. Look, you can have people that post videos and talk about, what's going to happen with X, Y, and Z with Fab. Unless I have the data,
Yeah.
it's just a story,
Yeah.
right? Like, I don't
It's
care who it's
hearsay.
from. I don't care if
Exactly.
they said they talked to this person who like works there.
Yeah.
Um,
Question mark.
Question
unless I
mark.
see, unless I see it, I need the proof, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So unless it's like someone I trust and I get the info from them, like I'm not necessarily gonna believe it.
Right.
I'll remember it. So then if something else happens that is similar to that I do have
Right.
actual information
There's a
for,
bit of a correlation that you could
then
infer.
yeah, right, exactly. But I'm more of a numbers person, so I got
Hmm.
to see it to
Yeah.
put some real weight to it.
I think a lot of people are erring on the side of caution right now. I'm sure so many people got burned like you did in Arcane Rising, and they just kind of learned their lesson there and then to not trust, just the words that you get, to really kind of wait till you get the concrete numbers before acting on them, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
No,
Well, that was
it's
my last question. I think Eric, unless you want to comment on that, Eric, you have the
no.
floor.
I mean, you just mentioned. Sorry, Jason, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah. I mean, did I cover everything you're looking for there, Rob?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a great cover. I think you've covered. I guess maybe one small point about first ed to unlimited, the ratios. Do you know approximately what that looks like if you're looking to buy Fab?
Like, sorry, how do you mean
I guess
ratios?
so. If you were to buy like the next set of, well, I guess there's no more first ed, so I guess it doesn't matter too much
I
anymore.
think I think like Rob's meaning like historically speaking, if you
Yeah.
Yeah.
wanted to order a first edition Monarch or Tails, how much unlimited did they stuck you with? Like how much did they make you buy of unlimited to get X amount of first ed, or was that just not a thing, at least in the US?
I
Right.
think it I think it was for Tails. Um, but I did not have that hard My sales rep with the distributor that does that
Mhm.
is very bad.
Okay.
It's I have
Perfect.
to pull I have to
It's
pull
even
all the
better.
information from them.
Okay.
So he was probably told to tell me that, but never did. And that never
Nice.
became a conversation between him and I until I called him and I was like, dude,
Oh.
what are my Everfest numbers? And he's like, oh yeah,
Oh.
So just so you know, with Everfest, your allocation is based on your unlimited sales, and
Oh, so they pop
I'm
that
like, you're
on
telling me
you
that like two
after.
days before Everfest comes out?
I
Like
see.
seriously?
I see. So it's not that
And
because they didn't mention it, it doesn't apply. It still
right,
applies, but you only
yeah,
find out about it
exactly.
later. Oh, that's
So I
terrible.
mean, they're
Yeah.
kind of a yeah,
So don't worry
Fair
about it
enough.
anymore. It's not relevant anymore.
Yeah,
That was
right.
just like a
exactly.
past
Topic
idea because a
that
Oh,
lot of
I
we
can't wait
people
to call him and be like, so remember that unlimited thing?
shut
want
it.
unlimited.
He probably has no idea that unlimited's not even a thing anymore.
Yeah, probably not.
Well, yeah, that was more to like because I know a lot of people like at least a store that I'm like affiliated with. We're a little bit we like when we got allocated first ed, we had to sit on stupid amounts of unlimited product for
Yeah.
Everfest and now with the release of the new kind of the non-unlimited print, like there is no such thing as limited print run for the next one.
Yeah.
Ignoring Everfest, I
There
don't
might
think or
not
know if
be.
there'll be Everfest Unlimited.
Yeah.
Ignoring that, just taking that out of the equation.
Yeah.
A lot of the times our allocation was completely random, and then some of our ratios that we were getting were like 1 to 4, 1 to 2. We
Yeah.
can't sell this stuff. We need to like force it down people's throats via pricing and
Yeah, a
drafting.
lot of
It can
people
only be so
just
fun,
gave the packs
right?
away in prizing. Yeah.
I I can say this for a player. If you are a player and you're gonna get into Fab and you don't have any cards, or you'd prefer to crack packs. I love cracking packs.
Yep.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
LSS upped the pull rates and unlimited. And so if you
Mm,
want a better chance to get some stuff
Yep.
because you just want to play,
playable copies. Yeah.
buy Monarch Unlimited, buy Tales Unlimited.
It's interesting. Yeah.
If you know the box of Arcane Rising is a newer case of Arcane Rising, buy the newer case.
Mm.
Buy Japan WTR.
Ah, okay.
You get better pull
This is
rates.
valuable information.
I got facts on this. I
Ah.
opened 120 boxes of Arcane Rising
Mhm.
from the first wave. I have 0 boxes that had more than one legendary,
Okay.
and I had a handful of boxes that had 3 majestics.
Okay.
I opened
Okay.
from the newest wave, WTR and Arcane. I got boxes with 5 majestics,
Oh my.
two rainbow foil. You can get a legendary like almost. I mean, if you're lucky, you can get 2 in a case, but
Right.
it's maybe like every like 3rd or 4th case.
Mhm.
They definitely changed the pull rates.
Okay.
So again, if you're a player and you want to open sealed, unlimited's not bad, especially if you can get it for a great price.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Oh,
Uh,
Jason, you might have
no, that's fair.
frozen for us there.
Oh, unfreeze.
Oh, you're good. You're
That
good.
we're good now. Yeah.
All
Nope,
right,
that's
sorry about
fair. So talking about like print run here. So I know you mentioned that you're a numbers guy. Well, I'm also a numbers guy. So we're gonna talk a little bit about numbers here with print runs, right? So we have from the Fab side, we got 16.7K displays of Welcome to Wraith Alpha, Arcane Alpha. Same number for both, 16.7K. Exactly, right? In case anyone's curious, those are the ones that Jason's handsomely has on his counter. You can see they don't have the little red unlimited thing on them. They're pure first edition, pure blood first edition. Um, and then crew, they decided to more than double it, about 37.5K of
Yep.
first edition. Recently, they released the Monarch ones, like a couple weeks ago, I think.
Yeah.
125K, right?
Not shocked at all.
Mhm.
Not shocked at all.
Not
So
surprised.
I
Mhm.
guess that was the first question.
Are you
What did you
shocked?
think of what did you think
Yeah.
about like the Monarch print run announcement on the market? It's like a bit of a two-parter. So the first one is like, what do you think about the 125K in relation to the other print runs and in general?
I think there's a lot there. I'm not surprised by the number one bit,
Yep.
just because of how many more boxes I got from Crucible First Edition to Monarch.
Allocation wise.
If you had been in the game as long as I had, or longer, and you were successful as I was moving product, that number should be no surprise to you.
Mhm.
If it
Yep.
is, I do not believe you. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. Because the amount of extra boxes I got was through the roof compared to, Crucible.
Mhm.
So if you were not thinking a very high number, then I don't know. You're not good with math, I guess.
You're
I
not a
don't know if
numbers
you should be
guy.
running the store. Because you need to know math. right?
Oh man.
I think it's a fair number. It's tough for LSS, right? Because you have stores throwing in these insane numbers because they know they're not going to get the number that they want, right? And that
Mhm.
overinflates it. And then LSS has to get that information from distributors,
Yeah.
which they're not great with numbers either because they can't tell you two days before a release count how many boxes you're going to get. So, that's a really tough job for a company to figure out what to print,
Hmm.
right?
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
And they don't want to print too many. They want to print enough for all their markets.
Yeah. It's a very
Um,
very narrow
that's
sweet spot, isn't it?
that's a tough seat to sit in, man. I
Hmm.
don't I don't know if
Don't
I could
envy
do
that
that.
guy.
I would not be
You
able to
know?
do it either.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm not surprised by the number. I had my number was at 88,728.
Okay, very specific.
That's what I had for the US. Okay.
Okay,
And
okay.
so I was thinking US is maybe 50-60% of the market. But if you take my number and you apply it to the 125,000, that puts the US at about 70% of the market,
Yeah.
which I can totally see. I can totally see that.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I think it's a good number. I'm very distraught about stores and how they sold Monarch.
Right.
Um, I think people have lots of excuses for why they did what they did. I just am not a fan of them. Um,
Yeah. And we're
just
talking
very
about stores that held on to product.
held on a product or didn't want to put product into the market
Yeah.
because they didn't want to crash the market. Crash it to what? It's 600. You're going to bring it down to 200?
Yeah.
Who is going to care?
This is
You,
by no
you'll
means
be
a crash.
you'll be a saint. Are you kidding me? You
Yeah.
just got a
Yeah.
customer for life. You know?
Yeah. No,
Makes
it's
no
fair
sense.
though.
Yeah, very
So,
fair. Yeah, yeah.
No,
so
that's
shame on
fair.
all those stores,
Mm.
uh, and companies and whatever else.
Yep.
Hopefully they learned. Hopefully they got burnt by their customer base, and
Yeah.
they have to do damage control for the next couple of years, where those people either forget or
Yeah.
they get new customers.
Hmm.
Nope, that's fair. So Tails, right? Tails and Everfest here. So what are your kind of guesses on the print run itself, and what capacity do you think the market has to absorb unlimited for the last three sets? Because it's ignoring the Welcome to Raid, our crew, which were kind of surprises, right? And I think those were kind of the more hastily ones, but starting at
Yep.
Monarch, those unlimited, maybe ignore Everfest too. It's just kind of the Monarch Tails, right? So
Yeah.
what do you think the Tails first edition print run is, and how much capacity for absorption do you think for the unlimited product there is?
Tails, I'm kind of stuck on.
Mm.
I mean, we were talking about this briefly, Eric.
Yeah.
I was looking at my records, and I only saw like one shipment that I feel very confident about for Tails, right? Because we know first edition is always Belgian print, right?
Mhm.
And there's basically two orders for Belgian print cards that hit the US. One was in end of August for 58,000 boxes.
Mm.
And then there's another one after September, which would have been just after the release.
Mhm.
I was not able to get more Tails boxes after the first release.
Mm.
So I don't know whether or not to count that or not. And if we
Right.
don't count it, Tails is a lot smaller.
A lot
Um,
Right.
smaller than
yeah,
Monarch.
The Monarch.
yeah,
Oh, okay. I'm surprised to hear that. Yeah.
yeah. If it's or more boxes went OUS, right?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I mean, those are kind of the
More
two
more
scenarios.
even. Yeah, more even distribution kind of
Right.
thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
If and then there's a whole East Coast West Coast thing, right? Like maybe this was a West Coast order,
Mm.
or maybe the August order was for, yeah, no, it'd have to be, yeah. I don't know. That one's tough. So my
Mm.
other guess would be like 75,000 for the U.S. And then if
Okay.
we do like if we do
The
like
seventy
the
percent,
if we do
60%.
the
Yeah.
70%, it's basically the same as Monarch,
Okay. Yeah.
roughly, right? If we say it's less than that because demand was growing more in other countries,
Mm.
then let's say 150. Like,
Yeah.
I think that would be like my cap. I think would be 150
Mm-hmm.
for size.
Yeah, that's reasonable, I think.
Yeah.
So as far as we're gonna move a little into Fab 2.0 because it's been pretty exciting as a buyer, as a seller, just in general for the whole
As a
community here.
player,
So
as
as a
anyone
player,
anyone in the
Yeah.
game. Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
I'll throw it over. I'll throw it over to Rob for the first one, and then I'll finish off with the second two.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about the prospect of having a single box be both first edition and unlimited together. Very kind of brief question, but how do you think that's going to affect the sales of this product and the growth of the game actually in general, if you want to comment on that?
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting because we're used to this split model, right?
Yeah.
Where
Mhm.
you might have some people literally waiting for unlimited, right? They might not care about the
And
first
I
edition.
know some people like that. Yep.
Yeah.
Totally.
They may like be like, oh my gosh, this company's fire selling WTR for, 64 and you get a $15 gift card and
Yeah.
a plushie, you know?
Yeah, I'll
So
take that plushie.
yeah, they
Fair enough.
might, they might have waited for that, where now you don't have that, right?
Mhm.
And so I think you'll see a little bit more pressure on buying the box, but I think bigger picture, we need to get out of this mindset that it needs to sell out immediately, right?
Mhm.
Like I'm sure LSS would prefer that these boxes are around for like 18 months,
Yeah.
right? And so it is fine if we don't sell a ton of them, right? Like I pull the TCG player data um, for all box sales, right? And if you look at the numbers, all of these boxes are still selling very well, right?
Mhm.
Like the only ones that are like less than 100 boxes a month is Monarch First Edition, right?
Which
But it's a
makes sense.
$150 box, you
Yes.
know? I mean, Arcane Rising was through the roof. It was like between 200 and 400 boxes
Mm.
for January, February, and March each month, between 200 and 400 boxes.
Oh wow.
Um, and that's like $100 box, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yes, you had Pro Tour and all that, right?
Fair.
Even Tails was through the roof. That was really up there too.
Mm.
Um, for me, it's more about momentum, right? I don't
Right.
care how many boxes sell. Do they keep selling?
Right.
Mhm.
Are they still selling? Right? So they are, and that for me that speaks to the health of the game, and I think that's the same metric. That's the same thing I will look for the new box, right?
Mhm.
I
Right.
expect it to sell very well the first 2 weeks, like any other game, right? I
Right.
will probably sell 80% of my boxes that first 2 weeks, and then the rest will just kind of trickle through to
Yeah.
fill the needs here and there. But I think it'll be a healthier spot for the game.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it's still great for collectors too. In fact,
Mhm.
it's maybe almost better, especially if the collectors like to crack packs, because they're going to have to crack more boxes now,
Yeah.
which means the
That's right.
players will get more singles from them because they're
Yeah.
cracking more
They'll
boxes.
keep the cold
Yeah.
foils and give all the
Yeah.
rainbow foils to their
Well,
locals and to
yeah.
their friends.
Or
Yeah.
if, or if you're or if you're a player and you don't care about the cold foil, you can probably command a higher price for it because of the harder pull rate.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
And
can say,
yeah.
but there's more boxes printed, Jason. Yes, but that does not make the pull rate easier.
Yep. 100%.
And if there's more players to consume what's being opened,
Yeah.
it's a moot point. It's a moot point that
Yeah.
there's more boxes.
For sure.
It's
Yeah.
still harder to pull.
And as someone opening quote unquote the unlimited slash just cards to play the game with, it's still
Yeah.
exciting to know that there could be a cold foil legendary or majestic or now majestic fabled in the box you're opening, right? Because
Yeah.
Extended
unlimited,
art,
there's
alternate art.
no excitement in the
I
unlimiteds,
mean,
right?
yeah. I mean, you watched my stream just from yesterday.
Mm.
Yeah.
Was it yesterday? The day before? I pulled a shard.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah. I think it
beautiful.
was. I think it was yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is the first shard I ever pulled from Unlimited, and I was like, oh my god, this is awesome.
Yeah.
You know? And the guy that lost the box battle was like, oh my god, this is awesome, because every time I open a box and when I do a box battle and somebody doesn't, and I don't pull a Fable, I take a pack, like, so he's got some crew first, some monarch first, and then
Mm.
I get a bunch of other packs. So I'll set one aside every time I do a box battle into a war chest, and then so when I pull a Fable, the loser gets the war chest.
Oh, that's nice. Okay.
Yeah, so I get like double excited because I just pulled a Fable for someone,
Yep.
and
Everyone's
this
a
other
winner.
person,
And
yeah,
everyone's a
and
winner.
then
Yeah,
and
exactly.
yeah, and then the loser, he's getting almost 2 boxes worth of packs, so
Oh.
it's just fun. Um,
Yeah, totally.
but yeah, it's great, and you're still gonna have common cold foils and things like that in the boxes too.
Right.
Mhm.
Um, it's just a better box. It really is.
Yeah.
It's gonna
Oh
be
yeah.
so good.
And it
I
also
No,
think that
makes sealed collecting a little easier for me. I collect one box of sealed from every set, including the Alpha First Edition. I just need one now. I don't need to get both.
yeah, I wish I did one, but yeah, it absolutely will. Although what I do want to get is the historical
Yeah,
the history
volume
pack.
one. Yes.
I wish they called it uh historical, not history.
Mm,
I think the name's horrible. But the history pack one,
right.
yeah.
I would love to get my hands on some of the black ones. Those are going to be spicy.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
I mean,
that's
that
you're
segues
just
us
you're just
perfectly
rolling.
into
Yeah,
Eric's
it
question.
segues perfectly into our next question
yeah,
here. So the history packs here.
Yeah.
yeah,
We know. So it's a little bit. It's interesting, right? Because this is the first multi-language release that they've had, other than like a promo, a Mandarin Vapor Scene or
Yeah.
something like that. Like was one-off. So it's the
yeah.
first actual product, right? So we know the original one, I should say original. The English one comes out May 6th, and then the multi-language ones come out, I think, in July. So the question here is, do you think that all of us over in the North America here are going to see any of those? I think they call Black Label. I think that's what they called
Black
it, the
label.
Black Label multi-language. And
Yeah.
can I get my dream cold foil German Command and Conquer to go with the anger I get while playing it? But what do you think about? You can probably speak a little bit more into like I think a couple people have asked me just because like if it's multi-language, are we even get it? Are distributors even going to get some here? It's like, are they just going to ignore
Mm,
the North American market and Asia market and just kind of focus on the European market because all of those second languages, all of those additional languages that
yeah.
they're printing
Like
are all the
European.
European languages, right?
Yeah.
You're a little frozen, Jason.
Yeah.
Oh, you're good.
I absolutely think we are not going to get any foreign language. No, I don't even think you're going to get French in Canada. I don't think we'll see
In
that.
Quebec,
Well,
people will
that's
riot.
they
I
will
don't think so.
definitely riot.
And even if we get it, I don't think the U.S. will get any. Period.
Mhm.
Even if you get a French box, I don't
Right.
think you'll get them. I really don't.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
don't think
It's not for us.
it's a hassle, right? You gotta import like an extra subset of something. I mean, I could be wrong. I really think the intent there is for the French.
Right.
Um, I don't think that launch and that release is going to go in any way that LSS is hoping it does.
Okay.
I think these boxes are going to go. I think a large portion of these are going to go right to the secondary market because they're going to demand a high price. I really do.
I,
Mm.
I think most of them are going to come to the U.S., just not in the way LSS expected.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's
exactly.
Yeah.
like,
Not to a distributor to then decide when they should distribute it to an LGS, which is, who God knows how that gets determined.
yeah.
Um, I think there's going to be a large portion that just go to the secondary market. What that looks like, I
So
don't know, but
Yeah.
it's not 100% are not going to players to crack and play in that
yeah.
native
Yeah.
language.
That's fair. Yeah.
Period. It's just not.
I mean,
I
yeah.
have literally asked someone to try to get me one booster box of each of them.
Yeah.
Straight up. I would
Yeah.
like to have one for my sealed collection, at least
Yep.
one of each.
I'm right there with you too. I'll have one sealed, and I will be cracking a few probably. But that's
Yeah,
that's it.
If
Yeah.
we get, yeah, depending like the like import, shipping, all that kind of
Yeah.
yeah.
stuff there. But I definitely do think it's a little bit interesting. I don't know what the special card is, like the black, because I noticed there's like a special thing in there for Black Label. Like I don't know if it's like an alt art or a cold foil or what it is
Mm,
in
Yeah,
there.
it seemed like it would be like an alt or something.
yeah.
Probably an alt. I mean,
Yeah.
I would take extended arts of like E-Strike and stuff like that. Just the
Oh yeah.
cloud and like the full lightning bolt. Nah,
Yeah.
I would go. That would
Yeah.
be
If,
very nice.
I'm
But
more of
if
a
they
fan
did
of alt
that,
arts myself. I
oh my,
prefer alt over extended. But
Yeah, alt is better. However, extended is easier. So I don't
yes,
know
that
how
is fair.
much.
Yes, lower
Yeah,
yeah.
effort to
so
get that in. Yeah.
lower effort. Last kind of main question that we had for you here. So, do you see success in some of the additional SKUs that LSS seem to be wanting to get out there, as far as we've seen the Dragon Shield partnership be, I don't even have a good word, like just shoved in our face, essentially, whether we like it or not,
Mm,
that whether we liked the Dragon Shields in the first place, whether we use them, doesn't matter. This is our partnership,
I know
Ultra
what you like, Rick.
Token, whatever.
yeah.
You know you've got a stack of them coming over from you. They're not Dragon Shields,
I got
put
them
it
right
that
over
way.
there.
But I think with the hero sleeves and the tunic sleeves, like
Yeah.
I don't know, like all the PQs, top eight tunic sleeves, the judges tunic sleeves, pro tour tunic sleeves.
I didn't even know about the
Uh,
tunic sleeves.
oh yeah, the tunic sleeves. They're coming pro tour calling. You buy a ticket
That's
Yep.
package, you get a
fancy.
tunic. Yep, you get a tunic
Yep.
sleeve. But
Yep.
then the top eight pro quests are all going to be tunic sleeves. The judges are tunic sleeves. The classic battles that's coming out in I want to say end of May.
It's
End of
May.
Yep.
May.
Yeah, it's May.
Think it's end of May, and then the history packs are an alternative product, right? They are
Yep.
definitely not a core set product.
Yep.
So, etc., whatever they decide to release next, maybe like a big ad, maybe a second printing of the book, the lore book, that would be
Right.
super cool. I think there's a decent market for that. Maybe an
Yeah.
expanded version. Um, how do you see the success of these like ulterior products? Because so far, what I'm seeing is it's so product dependent that it's going to be very hit or miss, and I don't really think that just talking to customers and looking at the pre-orders from my own area stores and kind of we have a pretty big mix of people who are deeper in the game like me and some other people and more casual players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What exactly the purpose of the product? Like the classic battles is a nice gift, right? It's like a gift option to get some
Yep.
people into the game. Maybe you keep one sealed like Rob, right? And then you crack one.
Yep.
But what do you think in general? Do you see the success in the non? Because this is the first time they're doing it, right? They've never
Yeah.
forayed into alternative
Right.
products here. So what do you think about this kind of stuff?
So I mean, if you take a step back and just look at business in general, right?
Yes.
One way to grow your business is to add SKUs,
Diversify.
add
Yeah.
a product, right? So I like it, right? They're
Yeah.
growing, right?
Yeah.
I think they did maybe 800,000 booster boxes last year, right?
Yeah.
So they got some extra cash. Great. Let's use it to onboard more people. So we got the classic battles.
Mhm.
I don't anticipate selling a ton of these
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that's not the purpose. The purpose is someone buys it, they play it, they like it, now they play the game.
Yeah.
That's the intent. And if whatever their number is for LSS to spend to get a new customer, if that product does that, then I think it's a success. I think it'll be very hard for us to determine what that looks like. I think it'll be hard for LSS to quantify that.
Right.
Other than like how well they're selling. So I don't know. That one's tough. I think it's a good product. Some
Yep.
people think it's a little bit too high. You know, I think you have a valid point. If you treat it like a board game, it's reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yep.
I've
you
heard
can
that. Yeah.
you can crack it open and keep playing again, which I think is true. I think you can. I think it does have some replay value. Maybe
Mhm.
I don't think necessarily as much as maybe James said in the interview per se.
Mhm.
I think that's kind of a stretch.
Yeah.
But I think it's good. People open it. Just like getting the mentors from the Blitz decks, right?
Right.
I sold 100 of those Blitz decks. You can make the
Mm.
same argument. Granted, it
Yeah.
was a lot cheaper.
Mhm.
So that one's.
Yeah, and
I
there
think
are
that
the
one's fun.
exclusives as well, right? The cold foil hero and weapon,
Yeah.
I believe, are included. Rainbow foil
Yeah.
equipments. So
Little
there
lore
are like
book
unique
there.
things. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that probably. I'd give that one a B, right? C
Mhm.
plus.
Okay, not bad, not bad.
Yeah.
If I had to rate it, right?
Yeah.
And maybe it'll go up once we really know what's in it. We still don't know.
Fair enough. Yeah, there could be staples of cards that people
Yeah.
want these days. Yeah. Yeah.
Must
Yeah.
haves.
I really wish they added some randomness to it, right? Like you
Yeah.
could sprinkle in, a chance for a random generic from, X sets, so maybe you
Right.
could get a bang, right? Maybe you could open one and get a banger.
Yeah.
But it's defined and I don't know. I like the way Magic used to do those.
I think what I would have liked to see is kind of like a bit of a Pokemon tin kind of idea. Like some of the Pokemon products do it really well.
Mhm.
Like some of it, most of it's useless. Don't get me wrong. I think the coins are kind of useless. The dice are kind of like you look at an ETB. It's like half the shit I
ETBs.
really don't
Yeah,
want. I
that's
use
fair.
one of those
People
as my
love
carrying case.
ETBs.
But they do
I
because
used to
there's so
buy
much
quite a few of
utility.
those.
It's
Yeah.
true, but you know the main, you know why people buy ETBs? The packs inside of it, and a lot of the times that a lot of the Pokemon products actually come with a couple random packs. Like they'll tell you what sets they can be from. I would have liked to see. I think they have enough diversity that I would have liked to see a couple packs in there, a couple of limited packs in there. Maybe
That would be a cool product. Absolutely.
make. I don't know like price wise. Maybe it's pushing it. Maybe they don't make everything cold foil. I really don't know how it works. It's just coming from like a if I was getting into the game and I didn't know anything about it, I get these two decks, that's cool. But now I have to go all the way back to the store and look at all the packs and decide like, oh, okay, so I've never cracked this stuff before. I don't really have that
Right.
same feeling. You don't really
Like,
get
what
that.
set do I buy for Dorinthia,
Look,
Reinar? Yeah.
Yeah,
here's a Rainbow Foil Hero. Here's
yeah,
40 cards.
yeah.
Here's WTR Arcane Rising CRU Unlimited packs.
Mm.
Honestly, why don't they just put a couple history packs in there?
Or
Like
that, yeah.
that
That'd be
that
brilliant.
seems super relevant. Like put
My-
in like 2 or 3 history packs in there. I don't know.
I agree.
Maybe I'm asking too much here. I
No, I
don't
think
really
that's
know.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
That'd be like a $25 product.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Like a
so,
tin.
and I think
Yeah.
it's in, yeah. But they got the lore book, they got the temporary. I don't know. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
gonna buy one.
I'll
We're
have
gonna
to see
crack
what
one of
it.
the channel
I
stuff.
forget what
I
it looks
mean,
like, but it's pretty nice,
It's a
right?
good looking
Yeah.
It's a good
Yeah.
looking product. It's a good looking product. They definitely did the design proper,
Right.
right? They have a lot of influences from Magic for sure, and dual decks, all that kind of good stuff. Tons
I
of
just
influence there.
I'm dreading the lore book is like literally like your
Paperback.
Paper,
MTG
like a
paper
paper
book with the
little,
one
yeah,
staple in the center. I'm just
yeah,
like, you guys,
yeah.
please
Yeah.
don't fail on this one. You're pushing
Uh,
lore book, but if it's that staple book,
it's
like,
it's like
oh
those books you got from the original starter decks, like the Welcome to
yeah,
Earth
yeah,
ones. That's just
exactly.
like a staple in the middle, all white, no color,
Oh
just all
man,
all white,
that's
black and
depressing.
white.
It's depressing stuff here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's established. It's not that new of a game anymore. You could put a little
No.
bit more into
Put
it, but
some
what?
pizzazz.
Okay,
Yeah.
what do
So
you think about the sleeves?
please,
Tell me honestly here. What do you think about the sleeves? The Dragon Shield. I know you're gonna get them. I know
it's
you're
a
gonna get
fail.
them.
It's a
If
fail.
you don't think it's what was it? Is it the heroes? Is it the partnership? Is it the sleeve itself? Like what do you think?
If if this is a licensed play, if
Yeah,
it's a licensed play, brilliant. If
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
LSS is printing a bunch and then sending them to distro, this is a fail. They
Mm,
wasted a bunch of money,
yeah.
right? I've had literally 2 people ask me
yeah.
specifically for sleeves. Two.
Mm, yeah.
Two. They're too expensive. They're
They're a
way too
lot.
Are
expensive.
they like
They're
15 or
way too
something?
expensive.
I forget what the price was. Like 10 to 15
15?
or something?
17?
They're $17 for a pack of what, 100?
Well, tax in, right? So yeah, I guess you're looking at about $17, and then you gotta get them shipped. Well,
Oh
local,
yeah.
ignore it. Maybe you pick them up from the store. They're still about, I think they're 14.95 MSRP or something
Oh,
along
that's
those
yeah, that's
lines.
way too high.
That's crazy. That's
Yeah.
crazy. I can get 2 things of Dragon Shield for that. I can
Yeah.
get two
They're
things of Katanas for that.
they're not brushed either. They're not like dual matte. They're just like the regular brushed
I
like.
think I want to say, yeah, I think they're like classic matte.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
they're classic matte. Yes, they're not even dual mattes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I just
yeah,
if it's strictly a licensing thing, then I think it's brilliant, right?
Maybe we can assume
I
Very
that's the
very little
case.
effort. Here's the art, done, push it out. But if
Yeah.
they actually had to spend money on this, I think it was a miss.
Mm. Let's assume we'll
yeah.
give them the benefit of the doubt. We'll assume it's a licensing
Yeah.
thing.
You know what? You know the only reason I don't think it's a licensing purely is just because of how often these things are coming up in pricing. The tunic one, at least, just the
Right.
tunic one. I'm seeing that sleeve everywhere now. As I said,
Mm.
like the Pro Quest is going to be top
Well,
eight.
riddled with it.
Everyone gets a pack of sleeves. The judges get a
You
sleeve.
get one
Pro Tour, everyone who
also.
attends get a sleeve.
Don't you
The
get whenever?
calling is
Yeah,
getting a
whenever you
sleeve.
pay for a
People
ticket, you get those sleeves, I believe, right?
If you
people
pay
are
for a package, you get
Yeah,
a
a
sleeve.
people
package. There you go.
people are too picky with what they want for sleeves though.
Yeah,
They really
I
are.
totally
yeah.
like what are you going to sell them? You
It's
going to
not a
trade them?
product
I
for
don't.
everybody. I didn't even
Yeah.
consider buying them. To be completely honest, I'm not even interested in buying them. Period. I've got
I mean,
my
the amount of sleeves you would have to buy to get the price point down, right? Like let's say MSRP is $18,
Hmm.
Yeah.
right? So you want to double your money. So that means distro's probably got to buy them for 9,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which means LSS has probably got to get them printed for 6. So
Mm-hmm.
that's
That's
6 cents a sleeve. They got to
that's
Yeah,
print they got to print cases and cases of that
to
stuff.
make it
That's a lot of
worthwhile.
money to sink into this.
Yeah.
Not a fan. I think they could have done better with money.
Mm-hmm.
that's
I'd rather
fair.
hire another person.
Yeah.
Hire another designer maybe. No more Starbucks. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, and
Uh,
the sleeves also the art was I think it's just the regular hero art, right? There's nothing special about them
it's
as far
just the
as I
card
know.
art. It's just the
It's
card
the
art.
card art.
That's
I
like
wish it could have been different at least. Alt art heroes, maybe that could have been really nice. But
that's
I
fair.
mean,
Yeah. I have
maybe
like. Sorry, go ahead.
maybe an F is a little harsh, but for me, it's an F.
Oh,
Mm.
oh,
For
yeah,
me, it's an
at
F.
the F
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
As
I could
someone
see
who
some
knows the
people, it's
numbers.
like a C,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
But I'm a numbers guy. This is a waste of money.
yeah. I'm more on
That's
that
To
fair.
make it,
C area. I think if they can afford it, it's harmless, but they might lose a lot of money on this.
This is not Hasbro though. You can't like you
Afford
don't have
to.
piles of cash back
Yeah,
here.
yeah, exactly.
On this
yeah.
There.
stuff. But I think
Yeah.
that's fair. I do have one additional one I kind of forgot about, but I wanted your take on PvE.
Wait,
Uh
well, what about
oh,
the
sorry.
actual history pack? History pack 1 US.
Hmm.
History Pack 1 US. Yes, that's true. I mentioned
Hmm.
it. What do you
I
think about
think
History Pack?
I think it's
English.
so the caveat for me is I need to know the pull rates, right?
Right. Right.
Ooh.
So like I had mentioned before, like LSS was clearly playing with pull rates. I really
Mm.
believe that.
Hmm.
Um, and so if they lean more towards like the pull rates that we're seeing right now for Unlimited, then I think this is going to be a really good product.
Hmm.
Um, you get this amalgamy of 3 sets. It is more expensive to purchase outright,
Yes.
but the cost per pack is less, right? Like
True. Yep.
it's actually cheaper. So I've seen people say it's more expensive. It's not.
Right.
It's not. Um, and I just think I think if you I mean I think as a store you should crack a crap ton of these and sell the singles.
Hmm.
I think they'll move no problem. Um, I think it'll be good because WTR is gone. There's still a bunch of inventory out there.
Right.
Arcane Rising there is not. The box is ticking up.
Yep.
I could see it by, in a month or two, I could see it like 120 a box for Arcane Rising Unlimited,
Yeah.
right? Where are you going to get your singles? There's nowhere to get it other than this box, right?
Yep.
Mm.
So I think this box is going to be very good because this box needs to live until the next release, the next reprinting of these sets,
The next
right?
history
Like,
pack too.
like once this, like, why would you want to buy WTR Unlimited if you're looking for very specific cards? Just buy the single,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
But if you're not looking for a very specific card, why wouldn't you buy this? They're like, hey, these are all the best cards from 3 sets.
Yeah.
Right.
If you're a player, like, why would you not buy that?
Yeah.
Like
It's
you would,
amazing.
like, I'm sorry, but you would be dumb to go buy the other ones unless you want the black border because you're also like semi collecting. But
Right.
that's not really the target for this,
Yeah,
you know?
that's fair.
So I think this would be really good if they keep the pull rates at a minimum to what they currently are for Unlimited.
Yep.
I'm gonna go B-ish because we still have a ton
We
of
still need to
Unlimited.
know.
We
Yeah.
still have we still have a ton of Unlimited out in the market.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
So that are gonna like cannibalize the sale of those other Unlimited.
Yeah.
Ones. So it's kind of feel bad for a store. So I'm gonna give it a B.
Hmm.
That's reasonable. I think that's a good
But I
point.
like it. I think it'll be great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are
New
you a
people-
what? Are you a white border fan? Are you a white border guy? You remember way back? You unlimited
Oh,
guy?
So look, I didn't turn down Unlimited Mox Ruby, right? I didn't turn down.
Fair.
Hmm.
I didn't turn down a white border volcanic island, right? So you can't tell me if you pull an unlimited Krunic or an unlimited skull cap, you're gonna say no.
Yeah.
I don't buy.
You're just
I
gonna
don't-
play it. You're just gonna play it, right?
Right.
Well, who cares?
Who cares?
Yeah.
You
No,
know?
that's fair.
Yeah.
I've got locals who are just diehard white border fans. The moment the announcement came out, they're like, "I'm gonna white border everything I've got."
It's such a random thing
mean,
to be a fan
I know,
of.
right? Yeah.
It's like a 10% thing, right? You
Yeah.
know, it's fine. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
It's fine.
No, that's
If it
reasonable.
gets more people to play, I don't care.
Yep.
That's reasonable.
Mine will
So
all be black border.
Right.
I'll have the sealed box though.
I-
but
Just
I
a
was in from the
disclaimer.
beginning. I was in from
Yeah.
the beginning.
I
If I wasn't,
Yeah. I was gonna add
if I-
that the white border too, if you look at it in contrast to the borders of each hero and the cards, it kind of clashes a little bit, right? It kind of looks like the
doesn't
border,
look good.
yeah, the kind of the area border, like Aria or whatever, it kind of clashes a bit. It's in the middle. It looks like it was kind of just printed on an incomplete cardboard a little bit.
Well,
But
it's not like a clean finish, right? Like
Yeah.
most other cards that have a white border,
mm,
it's going against a solid, defined
Yeah,
edge. Where
yeah.
like, on the ninja card you have like the handle of
you
the
have
the
some
katana.
some kind of not overlap,
that-
but
it-
overflow, I guess.
when you've been playing TCGs forever, your mind and your eye just
Yeah,
it's just what you're used to seeing. So anything
totally.
other than that, you're just like, ugh.
Yeah,
Change is
it just
bad.
pops at
Yeah,
you. Yeah.
right. But it's fine.
Anyway, I'm gonna have
The
to see
box
it
is fine.
to make a judgment call. I think I'll enjoy
Yeah,
opening it
we'll crack
anyway,
some.
and I'll
Yeah,
definitely
we'll
collect some of these whiteboarded cards. But we'll see
Yeah.
how it goes.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, totally. Very briefly, because there's really no information about this PvE business that James White seems to
Oh
be
yeah.
touting
Oh
everywhere.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, me and Rob talked about this earlier on one of our discussion videos that we would do some disgusting things for a D&D-ish kind of style Flesh and Blood because
Right.
that's definitely something both of us really enjoy. And I don't know your take about. Do you think I've heard a lot of opinions that this game will explode if PvE is good? And the reason why it will explode is you're capturing the player base that didn't give any amounts of shits about the
The
competitiveness, the
competitive play.
drafting, the
Yeah.
card game itself, the actual mechanics that make Flesh and Blood so good. These players really couldn't care less. And if they can't care less about that, it's much harder for them to be pulled in by like art and stuff like that, right? And so I've definitely seen a lot of people that are like, this game's explosiveness will hinge on PvE and how good they can wrap people inside because that's your last market. Like as far as ignoring regions
It's
and
yeah.
pockets
It's
here
the
and there,
casual scene, really, right?
your last player market that you have not tapped at all is PvE players. That's your last frontier here, right? Do you think that's true?
Mm.
And in your world, what do you think's the right PvE? What do you want to see? Just very briefly, like you don't have to go in like incredible because we have literally
We
zero
want the
inkling
numbers.
about
We
this.
want the
We
numbers on this.
want the numbers.
I mean, there's a lot here. There's a lot. There's a lot. Okay.
Mm.
I'll answer your question first, but then we'll go into some things.
Sure.
So, does the game hinge on PvE?
Like the explosiveness, like the
The
real
explosiveness.
growth, the
Okay.
real growth.
The explosiveness. Absolutely not.
Hmm.
You don't think so, huh?
That's ridiculous. Now,
Contrarian.
look, what's Magic's most popular format?
Most popular
I'm gonna
format?
guess
Modern?
Commander because I don't play Magic.
Is it modern?
Doesn't really matter. It's
Fair
literally
enough.
just people playing with their friends.
That's also
That's where
true.
most people play Magic. They
Yeah.
just play with their friends.
Mhm.
They don't need some special format. They don't need some special thing. That's what PvE is. This
Yeah.
is like we talked about earlier. This is another category that LSS can sell to help grow the game. It will help grow the game. Have you ever played Marvel Champions or heard of Marvel Champions?
Yep. Yep. For sure.
Extremely popular game. That's PvE.
Mhm.
It's a
Yep.
great game. People love it. Sell a crap ton of it, right? I don't, but people sell a crap ton of it. It does very well. It is very well made. I recommend just watching Team Covenant's stream of playing Marvel Champions
Mm.
and just watch it. Watch how they play, watch how it interacts.
Yeah.
That's what I would expect a Fab PvE to be like.
Okay.
And that's not, I don't mean like, hey, copy this,
Right.
right?
Right.
In
Inspiration.
terms of like fluidness, how well it goes, it's very good, right? They release like these little mini kits, which is like a new boss to battle. They have the whole Marvel universe, right? Like so you can, one is like Magneto, another one's the Green Goblin,
Mhm.
um, and so you can buy that new pack to then have a new scenario. That's not to say that's what PvE is. That's
Yep.
a route they could go, or they could leverage that as yet another channel to sell into PvE, right? So you can have whatever their dream for PvE is, but then you could also have this. And maybe what I just described is you come into the LGS and that's a PvE armory,
Right.
right? Where
Mhm.
you fight the shopkeeper because who doesn't want to come in and battle Jason, right? Bring it on.
That's
Let's
true.
go.
That's
Mhm.
true.
I got my Benji Blitz deck. Let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's fair. No,
um,
that's a good point.
but I think it will help definitely grow the game, but it's not a deal breaker by any means.
No, it's
Right.
not as pivotal as
No
people
way.
lead on here.
Right.
Okay, that's
No,
fair.
there's
I
there's no.
understand.
Um, but I think it will be popular. I think a lot of people will probably pick it up. I mean, I will probably play it.
Yeah.
I had a similar discussion about Commoner, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And it was funny because it was literally days before they released Commoner. It's like, oh, we need LSS to support Commoner. We need them to support Commoner.
Yeah.
You don't. You can literally do Commoner. Like
That's a
True.
good point.
like
Yeah.
like what support do you need for them to just say yes? Look, if you want to come in, sit down, and you happen to have all your decks and they're common, fine. I will pop open my gem system and you will get gem points. I do not care,
Right.
right? Like,
Right.
sure, it's not a officially supported thing, but if you happen to come to my CNC and all of your cards are common, I'm not going to turn you away.
Yeah.
Like what support do you need? Like, you want prizes? I will give you prizes.
Mm-hmm.
Just come and play.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to use that as whatever, I don't know, it's just weird. So like if you want PvE, just make it, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not
Yeah.
horribly complicated. Just try it out,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come in and battle me. Make whatever that I'm supposed to be. I'll play it out. That's fine.
Right.
Um,
Right.
I think PvE is going to be a lot more complex than what people might necessarily be thinking. Like, I think it'll be way more complex than Marvel
Mhm.
Champions. I mean, that's
Mhm.
probably why it's taking so long. And I'm glad
Yeah.
it's taking so long because I think they need to focus on the core of the game.
Yeah.
Right. Like this year,
Yeah.
it's huge into events, and they've been leaning hard on competitive. And
Yeah.
so I think they really just need to just follow that funnel and follow
Yeah.
that.
You
Follow
got to
that.
get that right first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think for the most part they are.
Yeah.
And then if you hire more people to just focus on PvE and you got the same people still focusing on your core things, then great. But I think that's what they need to do. So for me, I was relieved that they put that in there that, hey, maybe next year, wasn't definitive because
It's coming.
it's complex and it's coming. That was the perfect message for that.
No, that's fair. I definitely echo those points. I mean, we can only dream, but it's gonna come one day, and that's all that really matters, as long as they
Yeah.
focus and do it all
Yeah.
properly here. But
I mean,
appreciate your insight
yeah,
on
I
the
think
PvE part,
I think the new box is going to bring in more people than PvE.
the
Mm.
history box.
Mm.
No, just
Just
the
the
just
Oh,
the
the new
next
new
core
set.
set.
just the new sets going forward, the new
Yeah,
boxes
fair,
going
fair,
forward.
fair.
That is going to bring in more people than PvE
Mhm.
because now you don't have these discussions, these split models, these
Yeah.
hidden
Yeah,
boxes. No,
that's true.
Yep.
they'll be like, oh wait, so this is like Magic? Oh, okay. I've played, like if you've played Magic forever and you're like, oh, yep, they release, one box for the set, and they're like, oh wait, so I don't have a set and a collector, it's all in one. Well, that's way easier. Oh,
Right.
okay. So they'll just release that and then it'll be available for X long, and then the next one comes out. It'll feel comfortable, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
It'll
Yeah. You're
feel
not tracking
it'll
too many things at once, right?
yeah, they like, oh, I
It's
know
simple.
that world. I've lived that world already.
Yeah.
So it's like a little simple thing that just removes this barrier to entry,
Yeah.
right? Like
100%.
you want the path of least resistance, and when you have, first edition, it's impossible to get. It's $1 million, and then
Yep.
you have unlimited that you can't sell, or you're like, ooh,
Kind of feels bad either way, right?
I don't know if I want to do that. But
Yeah.
now it's like, oh, I know that world. Okay, yeah, I'll give it a spin, right?
Right.
It makes it that much easier, and so that's why I think this box is it's going to be very good for LSS,
Oh yeah.
and just the players, everyone, all around. So
No, that's
yeah,
definitely true.
looking forward.
Appreciate your time, Jason. I know we took a little bit more than we asked, but how can we stop it? We can't stop things like this. It
Again,
just
We
happens.
cannot.
I warned you. This happened with me in
Oh,
bronze. I don't have a
look.
clock.
No, it's fine. We're not even at
We
the
don't
2 hour
sleep.
mark. Don't worry
Oh,
about it. Yeah, what's sleep?
Yeah.
Super interesting. Definitely appreciate your insight on the market, distribution, a lot of things I don't think people really, I think
Yep.
people take for
I
granted
mean,
what
I've
people
I've
hear
learned a
from.
ton as well, just as a player
Yeah,
collector, things I didn't know. Yeah.
there's a lot of misinformation floating around about card games in general nowadays. So
oh,
I
it's crazy.
really, I really, appreciate giving some groundwork here, giving some grounding, some footing.
Hmm.
Appreciate you
Yeah,
having on the channel
absolutely,
here. We'll
absolutely.
definitely we'll definitely have you back on. Do you have any shout outs? I know I had asked before, but you might not have any shout outs. I have no idea.
Shout out to my daughter for going to sleep so I could do this.
Nice.
Oh man, that's the MVP. That's the MVP right there, honestly.
Yeah.
So that's
Uh,
true.
Yeah, no, hey, I'd love to do this again, and if people have like
Yeah.
follow-up questions or anything, like, absolutely.
Oh, they will. Oh,
Hmm.
100%. People
And we'll,
always
we'll
do.
we'll add all the links as well to the Patreon. Maybe I'm not sure if there are
Oh
slots
yeah.
open right now. I know I tried getting in earlier and it was pretty booked, but we'll put all the links in the description
It's
as
like
well.
it's like my massage therapist. I always have to like book months in advance, and then it
Yeah,
slips around the
yeah,
time. It's like
yeah.
everyone's using their benefits, but
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, once you guys post this too, I'll try to answer any comments too if people want to make
Nice. Yeah.
a
yeah,
post under
if
the
you have
On the
yeah, if you
YouTube
have any
video.
questions, this will be up on Spotify too. So if you're listening on this on Spotify, head over to the YouTube, give that a bit of a view, post down the question. Jason will see it and answer it.
Yeah.
Of
Yep.
course, it's less visibility here, but I think that's all we really have. So appreciate your time, Jason. Always appreciate your time, Rob.
Oh, you're
And
welcome.
for and if people enjoyed the content, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. If you have questions for me and Rob, for some reason, we'll also take a look.
Yep.
That's not really the main focus, but of course we'll answer. And for anyone who's looking to see what our upcoming schedule is, that's usually on Twitter, so you can follow our Twitter. This will be up on Spotify. Definitely take a look, in transit, car ride to work. This is probably the best place. Or in work on your second screen, you're just doing something mindless and you want to actually listen to something. This is what I would put on your second screen on YouTube. That's personally what I do, anyways. Um, and for all that, wherever you're watching the world, I wish you good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Bye for now.